Hi everyone, today we're going to be working on setting up a health bar for this little prototype. So let's jump right into it. So we're going to right click on our root node, add a child, and I'm going to use a canvas layer, just because canvas layers, they render in front of the camera no matter where it's at, so it's a little bit easier for HUD elements at least. And then we'll hit create, and I'm going to right click on the canvas layer, add a child. I'm going to search for progress. You got two options. The health bar I'm going to be using is a texture image, so I'm going to use the texture progress bar, but if you don't have an image, you can use a standard progress bar, and the steps are going to be the same. It's just a different name. So I'll hit create, and now I'm going to drag my health bar background, and I'm going to set that to be the under, and then I'll drag my fill, and I'm going to set that to be the progress. Texture progress bars typically will have three. You'll have an under, over, and a fill. You can also get away with just two, which is what we're doing here. Now this is obviously a little bit too big, so I'm going to go to layout, transform, set the scale to be 0.1, and then I'm going to hit F6, play the scene, and just see how that looks. And it looks pretty good. It's just a little bit too far up to the left, so I'm going to add some positioning. I'm going to do maybe a 30-30, hit F6, and that should just give a little bit of padding, and I think that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to set the value to be, we'll start 75, and then we can see what that looks like here. You can see the health bar is slightly filled up now, so that's looking pretty good. Let's actually edit it with code. So I'm going to come to the script section here, and I'm going to pop this out. The code you see here, you can pause the video and grab it if you need it, but we did make it in the previous video. So if you just want to watch that, or if you want to copy it here, either way. To set this up, we're going to be using two variables. So I'm going to set a current health. I'm going to set it as a float, and actually I'm just going to set it just as a float. Then I'm going to use a constant, set it as a max health. I'm going to set that to be 100. And then in the ready function, I can just simply say current health is equal to max health. Doing it this way is a little bit easier because typically you'll have a player that'll restart the game or die, and when the level restarts, you want them to restart at max health. You don't want to restart at their damaged health or whatever it is, or any modifiers that might have been applied to the player. Now doing it like this is going to set up the health bar, so you'll notice even though it's 100 health, we're still only at 75. To do that, you need to make a reference to the texture. So if I redock this here, you can just drag your component in, it'll make a reference to it, and then you can do, we can target the value, which is the property over here, and then you can set that equal to current health. And then if I play that, you can see I have full health. An easier way to do this though, especially if you're gonna have to do this multiple times, is creating a reference. So we can come up to the top here and we do an on ready. We'll just create a new variable, we'll call it whatever you want. I'm gonna set mine to be the health bar. I will drag in my reference here, and then you set that as the type. If you need to find the type, you just hover over it, and it'll say the type at the bottom. It's typically the same as the property name though. Texture progress bar. And then instead of doing that big long thing before, you can just simply call health bar now, hit a dot, and reference the property value. Set that value equal to current health, and it gives you the same behavior that we had before. So we have a full health bar. If you wanted to simulate an on damage event just to see the health bar in action, we can create a function for that. I'm gonna pop this out so it's easier to see. So we got our ready function here, and then our physics function runs every frame. We're doing two things. We are moving the player using this code, and then we are modifying the sprite playing different animations, flipping it left and right, that sort of thing right here. So we'll need a new function. We'll call this function on damage, and then we'll simply pass it for now. In the physics function, because that runs every frame, we can come to the bottom, and then we'll do add a space, and then we'll pull out of that else statement so we're not stuck in that logic loop there. We need to get a reference to a keystroke. Normally you would trigger this on some sort of damage event, like you'd have an AI enemy that's attacking you. For this prototype, we don't really have that set up yet, so we're just going to use a simple keystroke just to simulate the behavior. So let's go to our project settings. We'll go to the input mapping. We're going to add a new mapping. I'm just going to call it damage, but you can call it whatever. Whatever name you use here is what we have to reference later on though. We'll hit add, hit the plus sign, and then it's listening for input. I'm just going to hit the space bar, and my input is just going to be the space bar. So pretty simple. Now if I go back to the script, I can say if input, and we can call the method isActionJustPressed, and then we can reference the name of the input mapping that we created, which in my case was damaged, but maybe use something else. And then we can call the onDamage function that we have set up right below it. Inside this function, we're just going to be doing a few things. We can just call current health is minus equal to 30, and that basically means that current health is equal to current health minus 30. So it's pretty straightforward there. And then we need to set the progress bar, so we can do health bar dot value is equal to current health. And then you might want to check if the player is dead, so we come into an if check. Current health is less equal to 0, and maybe we print game over. So if we play that, let's see, we got our player. If we hit the space bar, lose some health, and then I have to minimize this so we can see the log output, and then one more time and you can see game over.